if you look at what currency is today, money, we just call it money or currency, whatever this thing is, right? And what we say it is its value or its debt or whatever you want to interpret it as. Built within it are actual physical things, right? There's physical stuff built within it.
Yeah,
So,
blood, sweat, and tears.
well, yeah, but some things have innate value. So you can pull out resources, for example, from that. So resources have value, and it's, yes, based on supply and demand, but they actually do have value, and it is a market thing. So there's like a physical thing. You can just even measure it in kilograms and have some market share between kilograms, right? And then what you do when you're optimizing resources, well, you don't want to waste resources because that's losing value. So you want to preserve resources and recycle and not waste things, right? So like if you recycle, you're actually getting resources back. So you're not wasting that currency. You're not wasting that. So anyways, it's like a very physical thing built within, right? So it's one of the things you can pull out. Another thing you can pull out is work, right? People's time. That's definitely there in work. Money buys time, and so it's worth time. If you ever want time, you could just buy it, and that's what's right. That's what slavery was. You would just buy a person, and he would be a bunch of time. And then so work is something else you can pull out, and you can just pull out hours, right? Doctor has 8 hours a day, and Hank has 12 hours a day, right? So you could pull out time from the equation, from whatever is in this money thing. And then the other thing you can pull out is land. You can use land, and land can also be measured. It can be measured based on area or whatever. And the other thing is like built into any economic currency is the idea that you want to retire one day, right? And so like if you're giving a lot of work now because you're young and you can afford it, then that means you won't really need to, you can save up work and spend it later when you're old, when you need people to work for you. So like, and then the currency, we have all of this crisis on, what's going to happen when everything automates itself, and no one's going to have any more work to do, and there's going to be out of jobs. And it's like, that's a good thing. The less work we need to do, then the less work that is put into any product on the market, it's good. It means it's cheaper. You have to pay less work for it. And so then you get into making a lot of things more efficient, and then the environment eventually, even like if you're being more efficient on land and it's costing less land, you're being more efficient on the environment. So all of the currencies really basically steer the way to making these domains more efficient, and they're physical domains. And then the last thing that's there is just value. I couldn't pull any other currency out of it. I wonder if anyone has another currency idea, but the last thing is just value. And so like the value on a doctor's work is higher than the value on Hank's work.
Yeah, but if we were to replace a lot of jobs with machines, how are people going to be able to afford, how are people going to make money? Like services or something?
Everything the machines make is going to cost less because there's no work being put into it.
Okay, so I have a question, right? I have a couple questions, right? Okay, so machines, right? Essentially, right? Let's say we talk about AI, and people claiming AI is going to take their jobs. I don't believe it will, even if it can find machine bodies and stuff. The reason I say that is because, at least not under the current economic model, capitalism needs buyers, right? So you're only going to make things if there's profit, right? If you have people who are going to be able to afford buying what you have. So if people don't have work or any way to meaningfully secure income, whatever that is in this system, then why would people be making products, right? It's like
the last one is value. That's it. That's all it is. Right. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. What's the difference between a piece of paper and Action Comics #1?
Value, right?
Oh yeah, but in terms of resources, in terms of land use, in terms of everything else, it's the same.
It's the same, right? But you want the other one more than the other one,
right? So everything there is value. So that's the incentive. That's what we're really working for. And value is great. It's a great thing. We want to increase value in the world. It's great that there's an Action Comics #1 here somewhere.
Interesting. Okay, so essentially though, right? Like let's say, okay. What incentive is there for the ruling class though to democratize wealth building. Because the way I see it, right, at least the way the trajectory that we are in, especially the ones in the West, you own less, access to the so-called middle class is drastically reduced. Real estate prices have gone up way more than inflation. Let's say, I don't know, in '60s a house was like $3,000, but the average pay was around $3,000 a year or something. So a house was basically your year's salary. Then today, it's a house, depending on the area, is, let's say, $300,000. And that's not your salary. Your salary is $50,000. So, you see that it's like, I don't know, 6 times more than your salaries, right? So, it's basically becoming almost impossible for you to own anything. And if you already have the ruling class, which we do, and America voted corporations as people, and that means something, especially in the future. Now that we have AI and machines, they could essentially participate even more in politics without having to just act as lobbyists, right? Essentially, what I'm afraid of is that we're creating an underclass. I say we, right? This is a Western problem. In Africa, we don't have this problem. But we are creating an underclass of essentially forever poor people. You'll always be subscribers, never owners. Meaning, if you cannot pay for your subscription fee, aka rent, then you're essentially homeless, whatever that means in reality. Versus, right, like I said, in Africa, we don't even pay property tax. There's no inheritance tax, none of that, right? You basically, property tax is like 0.01%. It's nothing, right? But in America, if you own that $300,000 house, you can pay property tax of $5,000 a year or $4,000 a year, which is insane, right? You're supposed to own the house, but you owe the government $4,000 every year. It just sounds a bit strange.
Right. Yeah. So if you were to value that, and so it's like, what are you actually paying the government there? What money are you paying there for? You're paying land. It's a tax for having land. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think essentially, right? At least this is what I believe. I believe that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Annie.
Well, but no, because the way that it is in America, the property tax goes towards the public schools, the roads, the infrastructure.
There you go.
So yeah, so like this house we're gonna inherit, I think the property taxes are like $1,000 a month, maybe. It's kind of high,
Right.
And we have a very nice elementary school, right here. And so people choose neighborhoods kind of based on, the school in this neighborhood is good, so we want to live here, because you can only go to a public school if you live in the right zone. And the property taxes vary wildly from neighborhood to neighborhood. So that's always a consideration when you're buying a house, but it goes towards the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but the question is, right, like, why do we even have the tax system? I believe the taxes, when we had real money, I say we, right, but I'm really talking about a European history, right? In Africa, we didn't really have money. But when we had money, it was mostly in base metals that were mixed with gold or silver or whatever it was. So if the government wanted to kind of increase the value of basically print money, they literally had to, debase their metals, right? They had to mix it with other things and reduce the pure content of silver or gold or whatever it was. So that basically, they created artificial inflation, right? Now, back in those days, it worked because people actually saw value in the money itself, right? Gold or a physical thing that they could hold in their hands that meant something to them. Today, right? Governments create. I missed my point. I got it now, right? For governments to do anything, they needed to physically collect the cash, take it, and then pay people literally to do the jobs that needed to be done, right? Whether it was making sure that there was enough grain or whatever it was, they had to collect money, pay people, and then the job gets done. In the modern day, we don't practice that, right? We use modern monetary theory kind of policies. You print the money in your, let's say America has the Feds, right? The Fed Reserve. The government tells the Feds, this is what our budget was last year. We want to do more. Give us the money. The Fed gives them the money. then the government takes the money.
They pay debt for it.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but it's an artificial debt. It's not real.
It is real. So here's the thing, Bootman. You missed the step. That first step is why is money and born into existence in the first place. So money happens because originally families had blood feuds and they kept the double entry books before, so they know who owes what because of who did what to who. So that's why. So pretty much money extension of the accounting system, and they had to loan money exist because money it just isn't. Has to come from somewhere, so they borrow from themselves, borrow from the future, and that's why they coin the money in the first place. That's why we get to use money, is because they're keeping track of their blood feuds, the tribes that rule the world. So
Bootman, your ancestors are ancient Egyptians, I guess, and like their practice was that they believed that all people own things, and they don't only own things in life, they own things in death. And so they would bury all of their possessions with them when they died, right?
Correct.
Right. But then it would just get looted anyways.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because of corruption, that's how looting came in. The kings from the future dynasties didn't really protect the previous kings. Actually, it's because of the looting that they stopped building pyramids, right? Because they realized it didn't really protect their money, right? In the end,
it only it advertised it. You're probably better off in an unmarked grave somewhere.
Exactly, which means there's a lot more unmarked graves with a lot more money, right, somewhere under that desert. But essentially, my point was, right, before we had fiat currency, you literally had to physically collect the tax before you did something. Right now, you don't have to do that. You create this artificial thing called debt. You create money out of nowhere. And you can, again, for a country like America, they can ad infinitum just create money for different reasons. One is, quantitative easing. When you guys are the reserve currency of the world, all the rest of us use your currency to trade. Meaning you could print $5 trillion tomorrow. It won't affect your economy because that money will be circulating around the whole world. And the whole world has trillions of dollars in excess. So if right, exactly. If my country printed money, we would be doing what Zimbabwe was doing, wheelbarrowing money, $1 trillion Zimbabwean dollars on a wheelbarrow, and still wouldn't even buy you a cup of coffee because of the fact that our currency is only locally utilized, right? So you guys have that added advantage. You have to ask yourself, why American, being paid $200,000 a year, but someone in Europe gets paid $50,000 for the same job? I'm talking about medicine as an example. There's artificial scarcity created in America because your currency is the world currency. So, I mean, like losers in America get paid way more than very, very productive, skilled individuals other places, just because they're in the system of America. Now, the point I'm bringing up here about the difference in money of before and now is essentially, governments now create taxes because tax incentivizes you to work. They don't need the tax money from you. I'm talking about specifically America.
Governments do, because everyone's in the government. What are they actually producing in the world? They're not producing anything of value, right? They're doing everything that we need, right? They're doing the value that they produce is like a general thing. So they need the money for roads. They need the money for institutions. They need the money for.
Benjamin, that's what I'm telling you, actually. That's why I'm disagreeing, right? They don't need any of that. They don't need your money to do any of those things in a country like America or the United Kingdom. They need your participation in labor, in the labor market, to be able to do those things, not the actual money from you. They don't need the taxes they get from you. They need you to be participating in the labor market.
They need what the money buys.
Exactly.
Well, the money is collected to slow the economy from overheating. So that's why I clear the money back so don't have too much money sloshing around.
Correct. That's the only reason. Correct. That's it. Right. So essentially what happens is they get the Fed to print the money. They build the roads with your labor again, because they need. Okay. So let me draw it cleanly for everyone listening. Right. They don't want you owning your house outright, because if you own your house outright, you just grow your own food and you won't participate in the labor market or the rat race of corporate America, because you don't need to, because rent is the biggest single expenditure every month. So if you actually owned your house, didn't have stupidly expensive property tax, whereby a $300,000 house, you're paying $4,000 a year on property tax. Then you also have income tax. You realize, oh wait, if I'm not paying any property tax, I can just grow my own food because I don't need to work. So the labor market won't stand anymore. So the government needs your tax money to force you to pay property tax so you don't lose your house. It's all a game to prevent you from escaping the matrix.
Also, if you have landowners and people who don't own land, so the landowners get to decide, if you get land or not, and how much it costs, and they get to charge rent to, like, some people have like 12 houses and that's how they live. They just charge rent. Yeah,
exactly. So essentially, right, the government makes you pay taxes so you participate in the labor market, and then they burn the extra money, basically pay off the debt that they took from the Fed to kind of make that not, to prevent hyperinflation from happening. But essentially, the main reason for taxes in the modern society is we need you to participate in the labor market, and we need an incentive whereby if you don't do it, you lose your property or whatever it is that you have, so that you no longer can just escape the matrix. Like the current capitalist model requires us to all participate.
Yeah, but what would be your solution? You sound like a libertarian to me, or a conservative libertarian. Is that correct?
Right. I'm actually an anarcho-communalist, but yes, I do have libertarian-leaning ideals. Yes. So
you're like anarchists. What do they believe in again? They don't believe in government or higher power or something.
Right. So I'm actually an African anarchist, right? Like we believe in a decentralized governance, right? Like community-based self-rulership, right? So the community comes together and we just kind of figure it out, right? Everyone trades their skill within that community and things get done that way. We have local town meetings, and if we want to build a road, I mean, this is literally how we built the road near where I live. We all met up, didn't involve the government. We built our own roads and kind of manage our own system.
I want to tell you something that would be awesome and great if one country decides to stay with a government, they can conquer the world. Yeah, they can conquer the world.
Yeah.
We still need one country.
Yep, that's essentially the thing there. But as I said, right. Okay, so let me. I don't know. Are you guys rich or are you guys poor?
Middle class.
I'm gonna claim poor.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm poor in the United States. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm also a merchant corporation today, so it's.
Okay, so we got a couple.
I'm rich because richness is satisfaction.
Okay, we got 2 poor people, 1 middle class, and 1 unstated over there, right? But Benjamin, I've heard that your people love money, right? That's what I keep hearing in all these spaces.
We love money.
Yeah,
I think like, wasn't the author of communism also Jewish?
Yep.
Yeah, Karl Marx was Jewish. Yes.
Yep.
Money was a necessary evil.
In Judaism, is Judaism quite socialist in its beliefs? In the beliefs of Judaism?
Some people might say so.
I don't know. I don't know how to define it like that. Yeah, I wouldn't put it in a category.
I would say Judaism is socialist towards its own people, the in-group, and capitalist towards the out-group. Whatever that means.
It might be that might be a cultural thing. That's not a Jewish thing. It might be something that you're thinking about or seeing in the culture that I don't see it in the culture, but it could be. It's not an entirely Jewish thing. It's being Jewish is more a national identity and a respect for other nations. That's it.
Yeah, but isn't that the same thing though? It's like social nationalism.
The structure, basically. I don't know. The structure described in Judaism is a very, very different structure than anyone knows today. Right? It's an ancient structure, and it's a structure that's well recorded, and it's a structure that just doesn't happen today. But there is a structure there, and it's not. It's Land is completely treated differently. The social classes are completely treated differently. There's the priests, there's Levites, there's different tribes. It's a very different social structure than I don't know. So like, even knowing what that social structure is means you have to start living it in a way.
Correct. I mean, okay, so let's say ancient Judean cultures, the Levites weren't working because their work was the social work, right? Like making sure everyone is well, right? Spiritually and teaching, right? They were basically teachers.
Right. So they
the
weren't
law,
allowed
right?
to own land. Levites and priests were not allowed to own land. They lived in cities. They got cities, but they didn't get land.
Mm-hmm. Which
So,
makes sense, right? Because it disincentivizes corruption as well.
Yes.
and,
Yes,
and they
the
would
coastal
live
states didn't take up any space, so they didn't need
right.
land. It
And they would
states were in hyperspace.
They would also live off of the generosity of the people. Like the people would give all of their first fruits to them. So like the first iPhone, you would have to give to them, right? Like you have to give them your first fruits, right?
Right. Yeah, but do you know how well that system is, though, right? That's what I was saying earlier, right? That so it reminds me of social nationalism because, it also reminds me of like African cultures, right? I'll give you an example. In traditional African cultures, many of them, not all of them, the king lives at the center of the community. Everybody can go to his house, right? It's open. There's no security. It's not like European castles whereby there's a moat protecting the upper class from the people, right? In the African setting, the king, just like the Levite, is exposed, meaning they have to do right by the people, or well, they won't be able to live. That disincentivizes corruption because now the king has to do right by his people. The Levite has to do right by his people because he's obviously he has power as whether it's as a judge, etc. during communal sort of exchanges.
There's a division in I don't know, how would you describe it? There's in incentives. So like each one has to have a pure incentive, not tied up with the other incentive. So the king and the king structure of Israel is completely not incentivized with the priest structure of Israel. Both of them have different agendas. And the priest structure of Israel's agenda is completely independent of what the government is. So you can always rely on them if the government becomes turbulent. Yeah.
Exactly. So my point is, right, the more we move away from those kind of communalist structures, you get corruption seeping in, whereby leaders don't actually care about us. The leaders start, lining their pockets with money as opposed to be thinking about the actual group, because the incentive now is, well, hang on, I'm no longer tethered to the group, so now I do whatever it is that I want.
That's another thing about the priests is they were not dependent on money. They didn't have to deal with money. They didn't have to deal with land. They got all of the first fruits. The only purpose they had was for to be a spiritual center.
Yep. So essentially, yeah. So okay, good. So we've got a little bit of understanding of like different cultures and how they've structured their systems, right? And as I said, right, with that specific group, Judeans have survived thousands of years because they have that close loop on anti-corruption, right? The system like that really prevents corruption from seeping.
We've been dead for thousands of years because we didn't have a nation, we didn't have a country. So now we've resurrected. Basically, we have a country again.
You're necromancers. I knew it.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it, right? But essentially the money system, right? As I said, when I was younger, I remember learning about the stock market, right? I understood that's how rich people got rich, at least one way. But I didn't understand what it was or how it works. It's only recently, like the last 6 years or 7 years, that I actually sat down and, it's just that simple. You literally take money, you put it on a security that's guaranteed by the government. And we know Uncle Sam, right, American government, always pays back their debts. And even the one time they defaulted, they eventually paid it back. So, and you get like 6% depending on which government bond. You're like, so if I have money sitting there, it just grows and it's slightly higher than inflation. Great, simple. So you just realize all I have to do is just save 100K, and then the money will grow itself basically after that on someone else's labor. then you just realize, oh shoot, this is just how the rich people have been getting rich. It was not the let me get rich quickly poor people thing of day trading. It was long-term hedging on, basically insured securities. Yeah, I mean, that kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Well, don't they make more money from trading than just putting your money in bonds? I think most people make a lot of money from trading stock.
No, because they lose more money from trading because it goes on Brownian motion. You're just gambling at that point because it's not.
Correct.
On short scales, the stock won't go any way. On long scales, it's going up. So traders normally lose money because it's random.
It's just gambling. Day trading is just gambling, unless you have like inside knowledge, which some people do. It's just gambling.
I still think that if you put like €100 in the stock market instead of the bond market, you probably would make more money, especially in America, than in the bond market. I could be wrong.
You mean like long-term stocks or like day trading? You mean actual stocks, right?
No, like in the Forex, the 500 company thing where you put all your money in that.
That's a scam.
An ETF. If you put an ETF short, it's probably going to go up. But
all that Forex stuff, that's just a scam. It's not real. It's just scam.
Yeah, I don't trust Forex. Yeah, I don't trust Forex, but I would trust an ETF. Like that Fortune 500.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, right? So I was precise. I used the term insured securities. A government bond, you're like 99.9999% sure the government will pay you. And if the government can't pay you, you have bigger issues, right? The whole country's economy would already collapsed or something, meaning your money would have been pointless at that point anyways. Something bigger has happened for you not to get paid back. So, but with the so-called day trading, you're just gambling, right? It's like putting money on red or black in Las Vegas. It's not real, right? Yeah, you might make more money. I've made money there before, but it's just gambling.
I mean, if you want to make money now,
money gambling.
If you want to invest somewhere now, invest in Iran as soon as they make their revolution there. Invest fast because their money's worth nothing now. You could probably buy a huge piece of land over there for really cheap.
Right.
And I'm sure a whole bunch of people are already bidding for behind closed doors, bidding for being able to invest there, so that they could, because they know everyone knows that they can invest there. There's a big vacuum.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Iran is quite scary.
What's going to happen in Iran? Like next 6 months? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen, or what should happen?
No, I'm asking you what you think's going to happen.
Yeah. No, I think eventually, I don't know how soon, but eventually they will conquer it. So what did Hitler do when he saw he was losing? He decided to kill more Jews. So what are they going to do? They're probably going to shoot more rockets at some point. That's what we're expecting here. But I don't think they'll even be able to be honest. I don't think if we get rockets, we'll take care of them, but I don't think they'll even be able to shoot rockets. But yeah, eventually, and I hope not too many people will die. But I thought the strategy since the beginning of the war is just do arms smuggling into Iran to the people, arms and walkie-talkies, and let them organize themselves. Just give them the weapons they need. Like that's what we should have done since the beginning.
The hell? Why? Yeah. Why the hell would you want to give Persian citizens firearms?
So they could take matters in their own hands and kind
of like how they took matters in their hands and got rid of the Shah in the first place.
Let me tell you, some alien dictator came to the U.S. and he is now in charge. What would the people do?
Well, we're already armed.
There you go.
That's the difference.
There you go.
We deport them.
We're also not overthrowing our own government, unless you want to count that same concept with the Civil War, right? But Iran's got a history of revolution.
Yeah, but they don't have the weapons.
Of course, they're going to count the Civil War.
Well, now, see, I agree with the concept of the Persians killing themselves. I'm no qualms there, right? But give them weapons, right? Yeah, they're just going to basically Let's just say hypothetically the Shah is going to come back in place, right? And let's hypothetically say history just repeats itself like it did before, right? Everybody decides, oh, I'm going to run around in the streets with bikinis, right? But the people that decide they want to be religious have had enough of that bullshit, and so they're going to have another revolution. Don't give these fuckers weapons.
But we make so much money selling weapons to them. Come on, man.
That's true too. No, it wouldn't be money. It would be giving it to them so they could. It would be donating it.
Well, that's what giving them separatists. Someone's got to buy them, build the weapons and sell them.
But right now, I know they've got plans. I know the governments have plans. All of them. They have had them for years, and they're like they have their finger on the trigger. So it's only a matter of time. There might be other things that are happening that we're not even aware of that they're not allowed to tell us because it's going through like CIA, Mossad sort of level things. So maybe we're waiting on those to be able to do something, but it seems like there's definitely plans in the works.
Well, there's going to be a shitload of countries, of countries to go in for the infrastructure. In 2011, 2012, I think, those were the 2 years I was in Toronto.
They sold in the last little bit a whole bunch to China, like they were selling out their country. So China owns a huge chunk already.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's going away, right? So the example generally would be like if you look back in look just before the JPOAC went into effect, right? So like the year before that, Canadians were out of their mind in that country. They were investing in drilling software specifically. I don't know why, but that was their thing, right? There must have been like 9 companies, large ass companies that were involved there. The French were literally up their ass in about 10 different ways within basically reactor equipment, specifically the equipment, not just the reactor, but other stuff, right? The Germans were like crazy in there. The moment that anybody thought the door was open to go into business, right? They were there. They were literally there the year before the JPOAC even started to take effect, right? So as soon as this asshole gets run out, right? That's exactly what's going to happen. Everybody's going to run in and try to conduct business. Giving them weapons, no. Letting them do anything other than continue to sell off their shit is what's probably most likely going to happen and what should happen. Well, there's no way in hell I'm trusting a goddamn country that's notoriously known for like overthrowing their leaders. And not to be fair, from the American side, right? Don't forget they took our fucking diplomats hostage for over a year. We still ain't got our revenge over that one yet.
I think most of the world is going to end up trusting them very quick, and they're going to turn around really quick. They were, I think so.
No, outside of business, no.
And I think a lot of the problems in the Middle East are going to get solved by that too, because they were funding mostly everything. There's only really just Qatar left.
No, there'll be another group that takes off, right? Like the only fucking grounding that we have in the Middle East is quite literally Israel. That's the only thing that we have that's even remotely stable. It just so happens that everybody wants to pick fights with them for some strange reason.
The UAE is pretty stable too, I think, but they're profiting off of oil.
I mean, when the oil money dries up, the Arabs are going to go back to their usual, shenanigans. So this is very short term, trust me. And the Arabs don't have any real infrastructure, right? They're not educated. They don't have manufacturing or anything. It's just oil extraction. And even the companies, they might own high percentages in the companies, but they themselves cannot actually do like oil engineering. Like at least with the Nigerians, they actually have engineers who can do it. They just disorganized. But with the Arabs, they literally don't have Arab people who are qualified in that whole field at all. So the moment the oil money dries up, you're going to see them going back to typical Arab behavior.
I wouldn't call them uneducated. They named all the stars, pretty much. So.
Okay, I mean that's the ancestors, right? Like the ancestors were pretty cool, right? But the current Arab is a Muslim waiting to.
I like what Annie said. Yeah, I like what Annie said, that no one's a monolith. It's really hard to judge an entire people based on the most extreme.
But aren't you doing that in Gaza? It's kind of hard to do. I mean, if you were to do Gaza, I mean, the liberal inside me would say maybe we could have like got rid of Hamas more humanely. How could we have got rid of Hamas more humanely than nuking them or blowing the fuck out
You
of them?
need future tech. You need way more future tech to get rid of them more humanely. We could have put them all to sleep with some gas darts from specialized drones that are smaller than a bee. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess Sean is trying to tell you, right? Like, at the end of the day, there is that zero-sum game between the enemy versus you, and you do have to dehumanize the enemy a little bit to get anything done. Otherwise, you're just being eternal limbo. You can't make any choices because
I don't think you have to dehumanize them. You just don't have to, like, you can humanize them and just not even like them. Like, you don't have to like them, but they're still human. You don't dehumanize them. Yeah.
But you have to dehumanize them, right? Because if you kill them, you have to, let's say, this is a bad, evil demon. It's not really a human like me.
Yeah, but you don't kill them. You kill the ones that are trying to kill you. That's what.
But what if they hide?
They're killing your citizens, the ones that commit atrocities.
What if they hide under innocent people? What do you do? It's a difficult situation to deal with, I think.
Well, first of all, there's no innocent people. They're civilians. They're unarmed. They shouldn't be killed. But I wouldn't say any of them are completely innocent. And I don't know. I would have done it a bit different. I would have just torn down the border in Egypt and pushed them all into Egypt. Really, they're all just Egyptians anyway. They all came from Egypt.
True.
Yeah.
But I think Egypt is refusing to take them.
Weren't a lot of them Canaanites or from Lebanon or whatever the fuck?
No, I mean today, their population today, they're all Egyptian. They're the same population. They've just been cut off into Gaza.
Why can't we just gas them?
Because
Hello.
Because they're humans.
I'm sure that was a more layered joke.
But yeah, we could have done sleep gas in the tunnels too. We could try that. I'm sure that's what they did a lot of the times. I didn't take part in that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a pacifist deep down. I don't believe in harming other humans.
Ah, God, see that's why you're going to be on the bottom all the time, right? You're gonna have to get some backbone and fight something, right? Something.
I don't know, man. I'm chicken tender. I'm boneless.
Anyways,
I'm gonna fight big tech.
Not just Gaza, right? Like they need to be exterminated. You know what? I'm going to even start using the word final solution, right? I don't know why it's not good enough for them too.
I used to go on and moniker genocide Hank when the war was just starting, but since Israel was too slow to finish the job, I just don't care. Just do what you want.
I've also got a bone to pick with Lebanon too. So like right after we get finished with Gaza, right? Like I kind of need to move a little bit fucking north and take care of Lebanon, right? Like, we got some qualms there that needs to be settled too.
I mean, it's really weird. We still have the land south of the Litani. No one wants it back. No one's trying to take it. No one's like, people are supposed to come in and be peacekeepers there, but no one wants to do it. So we're still there. It's kind of crazy.
I oppose giving up the Sinai Peninsula, but I understood why, it was wanted to be given up as the trade back. Just
if you want someone to take the land, build a casino or micro center there. I'm sure
we should have given them the Gazas with the Sinai. That would have solved a lot of problems.
Wow, guys, man, we should be pacifists, man. Like, war is bad. Human.
What? No, sir. War is highly profitable. Matter of fact, right?
War is bad, but if you're not ready for it, you'll get killed.
Israel would not have existed without war. And I happen to like my business partners. The entire missile defense shield that we surround Russia with is actually built off of their technology with the Iron Dome. Strange little fun fact, right? A system that they fucking designed, we just basically scaled it up a little bit. What are you talking about? These people are awesome, right? And they would not have existed had it not been for war.
I don't know, man. I think. Look, I think Judean people are extraordinarily good at surviving, right? So, I think Israel would have eventually succeeded. I don't know. They would have found a way to get it, even without war.
I'm particularly don't care how they came about. I just like the business trade.
Interesting. Do you guys not have humanity, right? Like for the other.
Think about that for a moment, right? So here's my argument for why they all ought not be, or they all ought be killed, right? Let's just hypothetically say, within any conflict, right? You just kill the parents, right? Leave the kids, right? So they grow up, right? They have a little bit of animosity. Oh, mommy and daddy are gone. Woe is me. What do I do? Oh, I think I will go back to my vengeful self and act in some capacity against the people that killed my parents.
Yeah, Anakin didn't leave the kids, and Tasha didn't leave the kids. Why should we leave the kids? Come on.
Yeah, it's just
But
like
you could have.
I hypothetically say we should just start. Anybody that's not us, we're going to just label them Malachites and finish what that got started.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but it's a good, important opinion to share. I agree.
Interesting. Although there is one good thing Israel's done recently is acknowledging Somaliland as a country. I think that's.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, 100%. They've had a very interesting history, right? They're being forced to associate with a shithole Somalia when they've actually ruled themselves for the last 30 years, peaceful, right. And it just didn't even make sense. I know why they don't want to accept them. Is because African Union claims if they legitimize Somaliland as a country, then every other belligerent African ethnic group that doesn't want to be part of the nation state will just do the same thing. That's essentially why they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bad argument, right? They've been ruling themselves. They have their own currency. They're peaceful. They have their own economy and everything, and their own little support. I mean, police and everything.
And they have a really strong claim to nationhood as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So one people,
all of the requirements and all the international law, everything. They fulfill everything. Yep.
Yeah. Trump talked about recognition, right? But I think he's holding out for a military base. I think it's before he gives his little rubber stamp, right? I'm a little pissed that Israel got to him first, right? To dicks. They're always where we're not. I hate them being first, right? Like our competition is slacking really bad here.
No, you guys did really well in Venezuela, dude.
You know what? I almost want to count this as like an achievement, but think about it, right? Like, I mean,
you probably could have pulled off Iran without. Yeah, you probably could have pulled off Iran based on all of the drills and stuff that they had, but it was like a red carpet instead of whatever they were planning for.
Yeah, most of their kills were like collateral damage within bombing, right? When you're talking about like actually going in there, I think there were like only like 14 people killed in the building, like even if that. Like there wasn't much of a fight. Like there's no glory, right? It's like beating on a retarded kid, right? You can do it and you can win, right? But you can't claim glory from it, right? Because it's just nothing there. Now, what I want to see is a pop off with Iran, right? I'm kind of, I know this is my sadistic side here, right? But I'm kind of hoping Iran fires off a couple missiles, right? Because the last time Israel said, was when we tried to put Israel on a leash, right? They fucked them up badly, and it was hilarious to watch, and I think it's deserved.
Josh, you understand me? That's why I don't claim triumphs over Snafu and Stevens. It's being up on retarded kids. It just doesn't make a difference to me.
What I'm gonna be pissed is if Israel gets there first. That's gonna piss me off because I'm fucking tired of it. It was our embassy, right?
It's our corner of the neighborhood, man. We're here. We're closer. Come on.
I know, but it's a little bit more personal for us, right? Like, no, maybe that's a bad argument too, right? Because it's been fucking death to Israel's been chanted all over the place there. So I don't know. I just want
a lot of American side to Iran as well, and what they're doing and what they're funding, all the chaos in your country is insane.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the CIA. Well, no, hold up. I thought Mossad did a pretty damn good job killing their little fucking nuclear designer. right? I thought that was an awesome system, but they set up that fucking truck to just fucking fire off a machine gun remotely and just gun that bastard down. Damn. I don't know. I don't. We got competition is the problem. Now I say it's good competition. I'm just tired of y'all doing it first.
As long as it gets done.
Yeah. See, this is what I like about Israel. They get things done a little bit faster. Well, apparently we're dragging our ass over here in the West. We can't get shit done fast. We're still having problems with this.
I think you can. So like all of these things are plans. Like you had plans for all this stuff already. Just no one was pulling the trigger. Like they were always on the table or on the shelf, but no one pulled the trigger on any of them. Yeah.
Maybe, right? Maybe, but maybe that's the problem. See, I think Trump is actually the okay. I'm going to call him a belligerent asshole, right? But we like belligerent assholes. Well, we like shit getting done, right? So what? It just happens to be a belligerent jerk, right? But the problem is I think it's setting a new precedence for authoritarianism within the U.S., right? I think it's going to set. I think Trump is actually in the next 25 years. I think Trump is going to look a lot more moderate in 25 years compared to what comes next.
Yeah. I mean, I see that, but my question is, right? Like, okay, America's new sort of, strongmanism. Is it going to work for them the way they think it's going to work for them, or it's just going to create? That's now all right. That's
yeah. No. Soft power is going to be a lot harder to achieve. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to achieve.
Right, and in a way, I'm kind of seeing
it's going to fall. There's going to be less democracies around the world.
Well, there are no.
I think they mean like Republican.
Okay, yeah. Those are been around for like 2,000 years. That's nothing new there.
Yeah, Republicans one. Sean.
I don't know. I think everything. I don't know. I see a lot more harder to trade.
Okay, so let me trade about the claim I'm making. Right, the way it looks is that with some of Trump's actions, right, just kind of Trump is behaving like the Chinese Communist Party. He's taking executive orders into his hands and just doing whatever he thinks is necessary. Now, the Chinese Communist Party do that, but they argue with the whole, group of Chinese statespeople, and they do it really quickly. With America, it just seems like America is alienating themselves from the rest of the world. I actually feel right now that the collapse of the United States dollar as a reserve currency is going to actually happen faster now because no one can, trust America anymore. Because now America feels like they can just take out anyone they want.
I couldn't disagree more. I think America is cleaning up their country way faster than anyone else is even waking up. And like if I was a betting person, I would say they were going to survive whatever's coming for the rest of the world.
But so what if China boycotts the dollar for trading oil? Isn't all oil traded in dollars? And isn't that true? The petrodollar? That's what.
Only on the participant side, right? So anybody that basically isn't trying to skirt sanctions, the answer would be yes. If anybody is trying to skirt that, no. So it just depends.
So some countries don't do it, like Russia. They trade with gold or their rubles. But essentially, like all the Arab countries, Nigeria, all the big oil companies do it, yes. Just a couple outsiders like Russians don't do it.
Right. And the Chinese, do they trade in oil with dollars?
Yeah, both yes and no. It depends on who they're trading with.
Yeah, with Russia, obviously they trade whatever Russia is willing to trade with. But yeah, the rest of the world, yeah, it's still dollars.
Who's that Jewish fella that made the petrodollar in the 1970s when they got rid of the gold? A Jewish diplomat for America.
I don't know. You tell me.
He's a famous Jewish diplomat who was very famous in the 70s.
Talking about Henry Which one?
Yeah,
I like the
Kissinger.
clash,
Kissinger.
John, because yeah, Bootman was very afraid to say that word, and you're just like throwing it around, pretty powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you mean Henry Kissinger, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
started the petrodollar and got rid of the gold standard or something.
Yeah, and then
it was either Kissinger or Nixon, one or the other. I mean, I don't know.
I think he's referring to Kissinger.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Wait, what? Why you got a gripe against Kissinger?
You know, he kept
No, I
repeating
kind of
the J's.
I
and
admire him. I kind of
okay.
get what he's doing because America was losing its power of the dollar because they were in debt in the Vietnam War. So instead of replacing the gold, he replaced it with oil, which is great.
Well, you think we were going broke in Vietnam? We made a shit ton of money in Vietnam.
Well, I'm kind of eco-socialist, so I don't really like the use of fossil fuels. So I'd rather you not use fossil fuels, but that's my dictatorship. If I were a right-wing eco guy, I would not be doing what Trump is. If I was a right-wing Trump guy that was into saving the environment, I would not do exactly what Trump's doing. But I kind of agree with what Trump is doing on the racial stuff because I'm a bit racist. But
yeah, I'm not real big on the whole environment concept, right? So like if we're talking about the Vietnam War, right? Like so Agent Orange, which is basically a herbicide, it's designed to kill fucking plants. Yeah, if you got an agricultural or a people that are dependent on agriculture, that's exactly what you do. You just burn the crops, and in this case, you just gas the crops.
Yeah, I mean, I got a question. Sean.
Answer.
Sean, right? Let me ask you a question, right? So you said you're eco-socialist or
eco-socialist, kind of conservative.
Right. So my question is this, and this is the question I have for everyone who has an idealism, right? Are you willing to not use the internet or any of the technologies that you have, since they're all relying on fossil fuels? Are you willing to? So I guess my point is, like, are you willing to put your money where your mouth is, or you just believe it's ideal to not use fossil fuels?
Yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I obviously would rather have technology that comes from fossil fuels, but I would like reduce it slowly. We should have reduced the consumption slowly like 50 years ago. But since we've delayed it so long, we're probably going to have to do extreme things to solve it now because we've delayed it so long.
No extreme things. Just reduce it. It's fine. No extreme
Wait. Reduce it and then convert to what exactly?
Yeah, nuclear. What's the alternative, basically?
Renewable energy. We could do a war effort. I mean, if I were Trump, I would do a war effort to solve the environmental problems.
Okay.
No, but Trump doesn't want, to solve that problem.
Go back to the renewable, right? Like, so I'm guessing you're talking about like solar, wind, stuff like that, hydro.
Nuclear. I'm pro-nuclear too. Not against it.
Okay. Here's my question on the nuclear concept, right? Let's say you owned a land, right? Would you allow the government to build a nuclear reactor in your backyard? Not on your property, but your next door neighbor's property, just behind your house.
I would.
Well, that's what France did. That's what France did. They built 14 nuclear power plants in 14 years. Like most nuclear power plants are government run.
Sure. Let me add something there, right? So regarding France, right? France owned their own mining for uranium deposits, meaning France actually. The reason why France invested in nuclear technology is because they have long-standing colonial relationships with the countries that they used to own. So basically, they got free uranium, and right now, uranium again, it's a very low occurring resource, right? So America would have to essentially go create war in Central Africa just to kind of maintain its uranium deposits against the Chinese and the Russians. Are you guys willing to do that, right? Because that you essentially have to fight you have to invade an African country essentially in order to have that constant power supply for uranium, as an example of one of the most used fuel sources.
Well, we've invested a lot of money in nuclear fusion, which is starting to come around.
I don't believe that will happen. That will work.
Maybe not, but we've invested a lot. So it might pay off at some point in the future. It's always 50 years away.
Maybe 1,000 years, right? Like the technology is
of nuclear. Yeah, on my university, we had a nuclear power plant where I was doing labs. I mean, it's nuclear is very safe. Especially today. You saw that even with Fukushima. Fukushima was fine.
So, my issue really is that you guys don't have access to uranium, and are you willing to invade another country to have a constant supply? Because France essentially owns.
You could get uranium here. Why not?
No, I mean, so let me explain the problem, right?
For oil, I'm just saying that if you want to replace oil, we'll have to reduce our energy consumption, or replace it with other renewable energy stuff like geothermal.
There's also thorium.
Solar, wind,
thorium. You can find another nuclear reaction. But uranium is present everywhere in the world. It's a naturally occurring radioactive material. It's everywhere.
Right. So let me be precise, right?
Maybe not in high concentrations, but it's everywhere, and you can definitely get a concentration out of it.
So let me be precise, right? Oil is used because it's reliable. You just put it in and it works as I want and when I want. Solar and wind obviously rely on things which may or may not be there, and also storage issue like batteries, and that's also another issue. With nuclear, it works also, but then again, finding a healthy amount of uranium deposits that you can rely on requires war. So essentially, as long as you guys are willing to invade another country to get a constant supply of uranium, then it's good. France, what I'm saying is France only has nuclear because they literally own 5 West African countries where they have massive mines there. So if you're willing to do something similar, 100% nuclear.
I heard the Russians have taken the governments there, and they're not getting the uranium as cheaply or something.
I mean, you can pay for uranium the same way that you pay for oil. It's not a big deal.
It's all about reliability. That's essentially the thing. You don't want to end up utilizing a technology that you are reliant on the benevolence of the international market. You want to control the market. France controls the market, basically. So
I have a weird. Okay, so like for the U.S., this shit's definitely not going to work. I like the idea of so nuclear power plants. I don't oppose them. However, within the real estate of the United States, nobody wants one near their property because it has a horrible effect on property value, right? So you'd effectively have to push it off on the people. Now that would solve any type of like power problem for say houses and shit like that, right? But now we're got a different problem when we talk about transportation. Americans love fucking cars. Yes, we have Amtrak, right? Like we have these like public fucking transportation. We don't like them. We don't use them. We're lazy assholes. We like to get in our car and go whenever we want because it makes us feel free for whatever reason, right? How are you going to convince 340 million people to give up their fucking vehicles slowly?
Well, if we don't do anything about it, climate change is going to force us, because when the weather gets worse, then people are going to have to do things differently.
No.
Okay.
Climate change won't do anything.
What do you mean by climate change? Like as in the earth is getting warmer?
Yeah, I believe in the climate science stuff. I'm a hypocrite. I'm like half conservative, half liberal. I'm cognitive dissonance here. At least I believe in climate change, though.
Yeah. It's fair. It's fair. So, do you or do you not believe that we are currently in the tail end of an ice age?
No, we're heading to an ice age, but we're delaying it. We're delaying it because we're releasing more CO2. So we're actually in the Holocene or something, where the climate is quite even. It's actually rare historically; it never really happened before. And now we're supposed to be heading to an ice age, but we're delaying it. We're releasing CO2. That's what they say.
I think you want to type into Google, "Are we currently in an ice age?" And tell me that word that pops up with the letter Q.
So there's a few different cycles. Yeah, ice ages come from a few different things. So on the huge cycle of 200 million years, we only came out of the ice age about 3 million years ago, out of the peak. So we're like still very close to that ice. But then on like the I don't know. We're coming out of several different ice ages. So one of them happened in like the 1700s. There was another little mini ice age there on that wavelength. So then it gets hotter, and then it gets colder, and then it gets hotter. So we're getting hotter still from that ice age that we came out of as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another one about like 20 years ago, which isn't, you can't call it an ice age, but it was a cooler period in climate. But overall, in the last 10,000 years, we've been very stable.
No, it's the last 10,000 years or 20,000 years. The climate has been flat, like in long term.
Yep,
but
that's right.
But we're heading into an ice age because the Milankovitch cycle thing, whatever, the Earth going around the sun thing. So, but the many ice ages you're talking about in the 17th century and stuff like that, they're not called an ice age in the scientific term. They're called cold periods or something. But they're not really
mini
ice ages. An ice age is way colder.
No, it's not
it's mini ice age. But
yeah, it's not about being cold. It's about being on a part of a cycle.
Right.
Yeah, but they weren't in the cycle of the Milankovitch cycle where it makes you go to an ice age. They were in the top part. I'm just saying that there was cold periods in our.
So we'll call them by the right words, and we'll make you happy.
Well, this is serious stuff. I mean, anyway, I'm just saying that climate science is correct. And ask AI, because I can't use AI myself there. So the AI will say we're not in an ice age right now.
Really? Because I can give you the name of the ice age, and we're technically at the tail end, so naturally would imply that we're supposed to get warmer.
By definition, ice age means that both poles have constant ice storages, right? And yeah, we are there. We're thousands of years away from all the ice melting.
Yes, technically, yes.
Yeah.
So
I could be wrong there. I'm not sure, but
we'll even get to the
I heard.
We'll get to the nitty gritty.
Right,
so let's hypothetically say who's going to benefit from. Let's just say renewable, and let's say solar, right? Who is the leading producer of solar panels on planet Earth currently?
Well, it used to be America and Europe, and now it's China because it's cheaper to make it there.
If it was ever America, right, like it would have been like day one when some technology was made, right? But that couldn't have lasted very long, year tops. I would have said like maybe 12 days at best. We don't manufacture shit. So who is the
master? You still do a lot of weapons. America still has 20% manufacturing in their economy. Like they still do a lot of shit.
Only at a component level of certain things that we export out, and somebody else like basically puts that together and then sells it back to us. Kind of like what we do with oil, right? Like we buy oil from people, like crude, and then refine it and then sell it back to them. Same concept within certain technologies. In this case, it would be solar cells. There's only very few things they're not at a fully assembled unit. It's component level. And
I'm just saying that if you want a war effort to solve the climate and environmental problems we have, we need a World War II war effort, like an emergency war effort to solve it. Because if we don't, we can get really badly hurt from the environmental problems.
How do you feel about China having more power or authority or say, however you want to describe it, in the globe? How would you feel about China being a little bit more powerful than what you see today? Did you cut out, or is it me?
Yeah, no, he's roboting. Yeah.
It's to make more renewable stuff, whatever.
You roboted out. We missed a lot of that. Could you say that again, pretty please?
I would tax the Chinese stuff and then subsidize the American companies that make the renewable energy and nuclear crap.
So place tariffs more that's already on China, but place, I don't know, like another 25% on China, and then have more tax dollars go to corporations?
Yeah, it's socialism basically.
That's socialism? No, socialism would be. Are we talking about mixed market economy type of socialism, or are we talking about like the state
Well, this
owning
is
the
what
means of
Trump is
production?
doing. Trump is a national socialist. He's kind of a Nazi. I'm just saying that he's doing socialism in a wrong way. I would rather him
Uh,
do socialism, national socialism on an eco-friendly way. That's all.
what do
He's
you
doing what's
what do
best
you
for
think
America
is
right now, for sure.
Yeah, what do you think has changed within the United States since Trump has come in office, economically speaking?
Well, he's increasing the tariffs, especially those that trade with Iran. I'm just saying, if you want to solve the environmental problems, you could do it in a socialist way, in a capitalist way, or whatever. There's loads of ways to solve climate change and environmental problems.
Yeah, but in this case, somebody's going to be a little bit more controlling of the system, and it ain't going to be us.
So like there are
Well, you can
environmental problems that are way worse than this climate thing right now. So like overfishing, that's pretty crazy what overfishing is doing. There's our water use, how cities are crumbling underneath the world. Like there's a whole bunch of environmental problems that have nothing to do with climate change. Like the plastic in the ocean, these islands. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, I have no problem with going back to paper bags. I have no problems with fucking slaughtering trees either. So what you want to do? You want to deal with emissions, or you want to deal with deforestation?
Right, there
what
you go.
problem?
Wait, you want to cut down all the trees of the world?
Yeah, if we need to get rid of, like, for example, getting rid of plastic, right? Like, what are we going to convert to? Paper? Like, if I'm going to go to a grocery store, right, and buy my plastic, that's already fucking. Keep in mind, the stuff that I buy is wrapped in plastic, right? But
Yeah,
it's about the plastic bags that we have, right? To take those out, right, we're gonna have to replace those plastic bags with something. The paper bags, that's an option. And so to make paper,
Well, we could also grow hemp, and we can make products not need plastic and paper. We can make stuff out of like
Whale blubber. Yes.
seaweed, or you just buy less stuff, which is not great for the economy. But that's probably what's going to happen if you want to save the environment.
You realize that the reason why the United States is on the top of the food chain is because of consumerism, correct? Like, you understand this, right?
Yeah, but this is going to happen in the whole world. The whole world is going to have to do this. Like, it's not only America.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so the United States, aside from food, let's take agriculture off the table. I'm not even sure how to count that, right? But generally, like, as in an idea of manufacturing, right? And aside from weapons, right? What else do you think we can make?
pretty much weapons.
Software and services and fancy front ends.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we're going to lose all of that, right? Because if we're taking out plastics, right? Believe it or not,
You make a lot of good movies and pornography
made out of more plastic than anything. And electronics is basically
you can't ban plastic as a material. It's a material. You can't ban it. It just doesn't work. Of course not.
Well, the UN tried to do it there a year ago. They were trying to do a regulation on plastic there a year ago, the UN, and it failed.
You have to control your waste. You have to recycle. You have to figure out ways not to pollute, for sure. That's it.
On behalf of Trump's, one of his last executive orders, I'd say in the last, 72 hours, right? Fuck the UN. We do what we want to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you want to get rid of the UN and NATO and all those things?
That's what we have to do.
You guys are free to have at UN and do. How about paying your fucking